Today I'm going to be showing you how I made the cake from Portal into a real-life ceramic cake. So if you aren't familiar with Portal, it is a puzzle video game from 2007 and it is amazing. In the video game, there is this iconic Black Forest cake. This Black Forest cake is so delicious looking, okay? It has chocolate shavings on the outside, it's got whipped cream, it's got maraschino cherries, as you can see right here, and it has this one little candle in the center. Now, spoilers ahead, you will never ever receive this cake. The villain of the story constantly promises you this cake as a reward for completing the tests that are the gameplay, and you never receive it, but you do see it at the end in the credits, which means that it is real. You just aren't allowed to have a little bite. So, in order to make this ceramic version of the Portal cake, which is real and tangible, thank you very much, I used 1 pound, I believe 7 ounces of clay for the base, and I think I used 1.7 pounds as well for the lid. Right now, I'm going to be coning and centering the clay. Coning is when I bring it up into that tall shape, and I bring it back down a couple times. Doing this helps me hydrate my clay. It helps make sure that all of my clay particles are moving in the same direction, which just makes for easier throwing, and also helps me center. And centering is an absolutely crucial part to the pottery process. Without it, you're unable to make any kind of even pieces, and you can tell because the walls of the piece will have different thicknesses across them. And you'll also notice that the height of the piece will be uneven, which means that if you put a lid on it, it's going to be super wobbly. When I was throwing this piece, I made sure to add a little bit of a lip already built in so that I had less work to do when I was trimming, and also so that I wasted less clay. So the really fun part about this piece to me was figuring out a way to make the chocolate shavings in clay form. So I decided to use a random piece that I had that was leather hard. It actually worked out perfectly. This is from the pancake lamp video. Pancake lamp. I don't know why I said it like that. Anyway, it was the perfect consistency for trimming down and making these thin ribbons so that I could kind of crunch it up in my hands and it would have that chocolate shavings look. Right now I'm trimming up the piece to give it a foot, which means that when it goes into the glaze firing, it'll be less likely to stick to the kiln shelf because there's a little bit of a rim. Now, I didn't even end up needing to do this because I encased the whole thing in glaze, but you know, it's the thought that counts. I would call myself a reformed trimming hater. I still don't love it, but I stopped using the little 3 balls of clay method, which led to so many pieces being sacrificed. And instead I just started using water to suction the pieces to the wheel, and I've had so many less pieces just fly off the wheel, which has been of great relief to me. Right now I am rubbing slip all over this piece. This is going to act as our glue for the chocolate shavings. I'm doing air quotes. Slip is basically really, really wet clay. It's really easy to make your own slip if you mix completely bone-dry clay, which is, well, bone-dry, with water. It is a lot harder to actually make slip with completely wet clay and water. It just doesn't want to turn into goo. But honestly, anything that sits in the reclaim bucket for long enough will just turn into slip. So here's another photo for reference of the look that I'm going for. This is a great example of why I love my job so much, which is making clay food. I just love having to come up with strange solutions to techniques that exist in cooking that wouldn't necessarily exist in ceramics in the same way. It's just so much fun. now we're adding the maraschino cherries. Fun fact about this cake is that it's inspired by a bakery in Washington State. Shout out to Washington State, that's where I'm from. I'm using an X-Acto knife to separate the lid from the base of the box because it kind of got mushed and glued together when I added all the shavings. This just makes sure that it doesn't get stuck after I bisque it. This piece got put in the kiln and bisque fired at cone 04. And now I'm adding wax resist to make sure that it doesn't stick to the kiln when I do a glaze firing. So initially I was going for the matte look that it has more realistically, as you know, chocolate does. And so I was using underglaze for the chocolate. And it just turned out so dark. I added a little bit of black to it, and as you can tell, it goes beyond dark chocolate. It kind of just looks like it got burnt. So I ended up adding a lighter glaze on the outside. However, this glaze was shiny, which kind of ruined the look I was going for. You may be curious why the underglaze suddenly turned so dark, and the reason why is because I actually put it in the kiln after I finished applying the underglaze. Underglaze performs a lot better once it's already been fired. Typically, you would apply underglaze to greenware, which is a piece that has not been bisque fired yet. However, I don't like doing this because I'm too clumsy, and greenware is super fragile and I usually end up breaking it. And so that's why I did 2 technical bisque firings. I do quite a few different cake pieces, and for all of them with cherries, I use Candy Apple Red by Mako. It is the perfect maraschino cherry color. Okay, listen, at this point I was still dead set on having it have that matte look, like real chocolate, because I wanted it to look realistic. I applied 2 coats of Amico's matte lead-free glaze. I've never used this before. I literally bought it for this video, and you're gonna see it didn't work so well. However, in defense of this product, I did put shiny glaze on top of already matte glaze and then used a matte top coat on top of the shiny glaze. And that's on me. That's my fault. The final step of this process was to make the candle that rests in the center. I used polymer clay to make this, and I used UV resin to give the little wax strips. Here it is all finished, you guys. I am so happy with how this turned out. I thought that I would dislike the glossiness of the glaze more, but I actually really like it. I think it gives it a really classic ceramic look. Although I'm disappointed the matte glaze didn't work how I wanted to, I understand that it was probably user error. I still love it. Whether you're a Portal fan or you're a ceramics fan, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed what you saw, and I'll see you next time.